Tonight on CFTK-TV, a movie shot in Prince Rupert will be airing this weekend. MP Taylor Bachrach discusses the aluminum market and why home builders want more from the Canadian government.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, I'm Damian Smith and thank you for joining us here on CFTK-TV. We begin today with news from the Terrace RCMP, who have revealed the two people have been charged in the fatal hit and run that killed Cameron Kerr back in 2018. Now, back on November 18th, 2018 at approximately 3 a.m., Cameron Kerr was walking alongside Highway 16 when he was struck by a westbound vehicle just west of Terrace. Cameron's body was allegedly rolled into the ditch where he would remain until he was discovered later that day by a passerby. And arrests were made at the time, however, no charges were laid. The investigation was later transferred to the BC RCMP Major Crime Special Projects Unit. Now, 7 years later, two men have now been arrested in connection with the fatal hit and run. Taylor Stogren, 36, and Conrad Wierzbicki, 34, both of Surrey, BC, have since been charged with indignity to human remains and obstructing justice. Stogren has also been charged with failure to stop at the scene of an accident. Both are scheduled to appear in court in the near future. Now, moving on to local and federal news, Skeena MP Taylor Bachrach has been canvassing the Northwest and some of the region's largest employers to understand the effects of the looming potential tariffs have on our communities. Here's Jaylee Matthews of CFTK-TV with more.
Skeena MP Taylor Bachrach spoke with industries and employers in the Northwest over the past month, assessing the potential impact of tariffs on their industries. He says for some, there are other markets.
Certainly softwood lumber is something that affects a lot of people in the Northwest, and aluminum as well. And, every industry has a different dynamic with the United States. And so the impacts, the direct impacts on different industries are going to be different. With aluminum, for instance, I was speaking with the Aluminum Association of Canada and talking about the dynamic with different aluminum producers. Canada is very well positioned because most of our aluminum smelters have access to the ocean. We're able to access different international markets. And while the American market is very important, there are other buyers around the world that also need aluminum.
Bachrach says many American producers don't have other options when it comes to Canadian goods.
The interesting thing about these tariffs is that American producers of things that need things like aluminum, they don't have a lot of other options. When Los Angeles rebuilds its housing, they don't have a lot of other options other than Canadian softwood lumber. When they're building cars in the United States, they need Canadian aluminum. And so to some degree, American manufacturers are just going to have to pay the tariff to access Canadian exports. Now, the challenge is that raises the price of everything. And a lot of those products then come back across the border and are purchased by Canadian consumers.
For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylee Matthews.
And a much anticipated film that was made in and around Prince Rupert will begin showing tonight in the city. The fantasy movie features locations like Cow Bay, North Pacific Cannery, and Cloya Bay, along with a cast and crew that spotlights many Canadians.
Where days didn't exist. No one got older. No one died. This island, it had a call in all times.
You a ghost?
I don't know.
Playing for 1 week only so far, the famous players in Prince Rupert has already had showtimes in Vancouver as well as several American cities, with reportedly more Canadian dates coming soon. Now over to Smithers. The RCMP have let it be known that they are going to be increasing foot patrols as the warmer weather begins to hit the Northwest. And with spring nearing as well, the police detachment has publicly committed to increasing their visibility in the community and interacting with members of the public a bit more frequently. The department is also aiming to make sure that they can address any safety concerns that people may have directly, which is another way that they believe that they can build up their relations with the community. The Smithers RCMP is also encouraging anyone who has some kind of safety concern to contact them directly, which can be done over the phone by calling them at 250-847-3233. And the BC Ministry of Environment and Parks have some updates on the multiple recent dust advisories that have been scattered throughout the region. Smithers, Houston, and Burns Lake were the main communities hit with the advisories, and while Houston and Burns Lake have both received the all clear, the advisory in Smithers has once again been continued. People in the area, in the Smithers area, that are dealing with respiratory medical issues have been advised to avoid any straining activities, at least until the weather clears up just a little bit. Now we move on to the ongoing trade war news, where it was a notable day yesterday with yet another pause being put on tariffs up until April 2nd. In a call between Prime Minister Trudeau and President Donald Trump, it was a contentious call, including some profanity used in the conversation as well. Here's Mike Lecouture of CTV with an update on what happened yesterday, along with what we can expect going forward.
One for Canada, one for Mexico.
Yes, sir.
With the stroke of a marker, Trump put a pause on most punishing tariffs. It's the second reprieve, but Canada continues to demand that all tariffs be taken off for good.
The only way you can make that work is to keep the pressure, because I think that is the kind of language that has been understood.
A part of that pressure includes Canada delaying that second round of planned tariffs worth $125 billion. Today, LeBlanc announced they would be paused a week, now matching the U.S. deadline of April 2nd. The first round on $30 billion worth of American goods remains in place, while provinces do their part. Ontario's premier announced he's taxing electricity exports to Michigan, Minnesota, and New York State.
This Monday, we're putting a tariff, 25% tariff on the electricity to the 1.5 million homes and businesses in those three states.
In BC, the premier is looking at unprecedented legislation to target commercial traffic from the U.S.
It will include such countermeasures as allowing the province to apply fees to commercial trucks that transit through British Columbia on their way to Alaska.
Trudeau's call with Trump was heated at times as the president listed the ways he believes Canada is treating the U.S. unfairly. Trump also claimed Trudeau is using the tariff problem to run again for prime minister.
A red maple leaf, I like that.
Asked about negotiating with Trump, Trudeau referenced the president's past experience in real estate.
That a win-lose is probably better for someone who is experienced in business deals than a win-win. But when it comes to countries, win-wins are actually the best outcomes.
Trudeau believes the only way to achieve a win-win is to remove all tariffs. But Trump has said levies on Canadian steel and aluminum remain in place for next week.
Coming up next, cruise season is now officially underway on Vancouver Island. Welcome back to CFTK-TV. Well, in Victoria, the first cruise ship has taken sail, but with the ongoing trade war, it will be interesting to see how Canadians and Americans may bow out of these excursions to make a statement of their own. Brendan Strain from CTV reports from down south.
The first cruise ship of the season has arrived in Victoria.
We're just going to go hang out and explore and see what we can find.
We're going to see the Fisherman's Wharf.
Many of these passengers will open up their wallets and spend.
Things that we don't have in Texas.
We're expecting 320. Last year we were 316.
The season is expected to have an economic impact of roughly $130 million for the region. Although with the Canada-U.S. trade war now underway, travel experts are beginning to see an alarming trend unfolding.
A lot of our experts are getting cancellations for cruises.
It's a decision and statement being made by Canadians that comes at a price.
That means that Canadians are losing a lot of money because there are no refunds on cruises.
We're just approaching the summer very cautiously.
As some Canadians make the decision to cancel their cruises, the CEO of the Greater Victoria Harbour Authority isn't expecting Victoria's cruise ship season to take much of a hit.
A lot of those visitors come from the United States. So, you know, as the political tension maybe continues, hopefully it turns to diplomacy.
It's, you know, two parents fighting, but it doesn't really affect the kids.
American tourists we spoke with today had mixed expectations around how they would be welcomed as the two countries duke it out over tariffs.
Any apprehension? What's going on with
Nope.
that? Were you nervous about that?
Mm-hmm. We probably were a little bit. It's what's happening, and we have to live with it for right now.
I mean, in this store, we're not political.
The owner of the cruise ship terminal's gift shop hopes cooler heads will prevail on both sides of the border and is confident this year's cruise season will still be a good one.
We still love our American customers, our American friends, our American family. I have a sister who lives in Las Vegas.
Ship number 2 will arrive in April, a significant gap in time. Many in the cruise industry hope will be enough to end the cross-border spat.
We all have a lot of anxiety about it. Yeah. It's been rough.
Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
Now we take a look at the local weather forecast for tonight and for the week ahead. Tonight in Prince Rupert, it should see cloudy conditions with a 60% chance of showers, and winds should be coming from the south at 30 kilometers per hour with a low of +5. For this week, expect a cloudy week once again with on and off rain for the foreseeable future. The high will be 7 degrees tomorrow and on Wednesday, and the low will be 1 degree on Monday and Tuesday night. In Terrace and Kitimat, tonight should be mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain or wet snow potentially. Winds should be coming from the south at 20 kilometers per hour. That will become lighter later in the evening, and the low should be +2. During the week, it will also be cloudy with some chances of snow or flurries throughout the week. The high will be 7 degrees on the weekend with the low of -1 being on Tuesday night. And tonight in the Balti Valley, it should be cloudy with a 30% chance of rain showers or flurries earlier in the evening. The local snowfall should be about 2 to 4 centimeters in total, with winds from the southwest at 20 kilometers per hour, increasing to 40 at times. The low should be -2 with a wind chill of -3. And in the Balti Valley for this week, there is a chance of flurries tomorrow, Monday, and Wednesday, and there will be some sunny days in there as well on Sunday and Tuesday. The high will be 5 degrees tomorrow, and the low will be -9 on Sunday night. And now we take a look at your roadside report from around the Northwest. For additional updates, check out drybc.ca. Highway 16 has utility work east of Prince Rupert, fog patches from Skeena to Doughty, and utility work west of Endako. Highway 37 has water pooling from Kitimat to Cranberry Junction, compact snow from Cranberry Junction to the Yukon border, and bridge maintenance north of Miziata Junction. Highway 37A has compact snow. The Nishka Highway has fog patches and water pooling, and Telegraph Creek Road has compact snow. And these are what the cameras were looking like from around the Northwest. Still to come, an investigation towards Tesla for the sale of 86,000 vehicles. Hello again. Well, an investigation has opened up for Tesla as the company has submitted paperwork for 4 locations in Canada for the sale of 86,000 vehicles. This comes right after the federal government said that its electric vehicle incentive program was coming to an end. Adrian Gabriel from CTV has more on this story.
An electric sales weekend is sparking questions across the country.
It is highly irregular and highly unusual, and it needs explanation.
Over 72 hours in January, right after the federal government signaled that its electric vehicle incentive program was coming to a close, 4 Tesla locations in different parts of Canada submitted paperwork for the sale of 8,600 vehicles, amounting to $43 million in rebates.
It defies logic that these corporate stores of Tesla and Tesla shareholders and Elon Musk would be able to sell 8,600 vehicles in a single weekend. There's something highly unusual about this.
This lone Tesla location in the west end of Toronto reported selling more than 1,200 vehicles on January 11th, just one day before the program ended, totaling more than $4 million in rebates in a single day. We paid them a visit to try and get some clarity on this staggering number of sales.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. My name's Adrian Gobriel. I'm a journalist with CTV News.
Okay.
There was a large increase in the number of sales processed through the EV rebate program. Just trying to get an understanding of perhaps what maybe some of the reasons were behind that. Did that take place, or is that a backlog of paperwork going through? You can't share any comments? Is there any manager you think that might be able to?
I am the manager. Across the street, we found a closed-down strip mall with a fenced-in parking lot packed with Teslas. Our multiple emails to the electric vehicle giant have been met with silence.
That's why we need an investigation.
Canada's EV subsidy has been wildly popular, with more than 500,000 vehicles purchased through the program that was paused on January 12th. The locations in question are located in Quebec City, Vancouver, and 2 in Toronto. The Minister of Transportation's office tells us they believe that Tesla followed the conditions of the program. We asked if the minister would be opening an investigation. We're still waiting to hear.
And egg prices in the United States have skyrocketed, and businesses are forced to make changes to their own pricing in restaurants due to the avian flu, which has deeply affected the costs. Judy Trin reports from Washington.
Americans are dealing with record high prices for eggs, and Washington politics is making it more of a challenge to find a solution.
Republicans and Democrats often meet at this iconic restaurant. Lately, customer traffic at Ted's Bulletin is slowing as the Trump administration hands out more pink slips. But what has the owner really scrambling is the skyrocketing cost of eggs.
Eggs going from roughly $1.50 to $2 a carton, going up to $6, even sometimes $7 has made a big impact on our business.
To control the outbreak of avian flu, which began in 2022, more than 166 million poultry have been culled in the United States. That has led to a massive shortage of egg-laying hens, turning this into a precious commodity.
It's so much more than it used to be. You used to think, just add an extra egg, and it's not that big of a deal. But it's on the top of our mind every day.
The restaurant chain goes through 4 million eggs a year. 70% of the restaurant's menu items are egg-based. For months, the owners tried to absorb the rising costs, but cracked 3 weeks ago.
We were trying not to pass it on to the guests, and hopefully it would pass. But once it reached a certain point, we were going to go in the red. We had to take a surcharge. So that's what we ended up doing.
To bring prices down, the U.S. is considering importing eggs.
How many of you ordered something with eggs today?
This is the Howard University basketball team. Among them is a shooting guard from Brampton, Ontario, who thinks importing from Canada won't go over well.
I don't know, since the tariffs, it's a rocky relationship right now. I know Canada wants to help, and Canada wants to, be allies and continue this partnership for as long as we can, but I know America's making that difficult.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that the price of eggs will go up by another 40% by the end of the year.
And now we turn our attention to the stock market, where we have a big increase in the index category today. The Canadian dollar is down 0.3 of a penny. The price of gold is down $12.50. Oil is up 78 cents. Natural gas is up 10 cents, and aluminum is up $56. The indexes category sees the TSX up 174 points, the Venture Index up at 9, the Dow Jones up 222, and NASDAQ comes in at around 127. Still ahead, an increase in companies that pick up feces from dogs in people's backyards. Welcome back to our final segment. Well, home builders are now calling for more consistency from the federal government due to a good portion of their materials being shipped from the United States.
It's yet another challenge for home builders. On again, off again tariffs that are making building costs hard to predict.
I think if we don't manage the current problem immediately, then it will be an affordability problem very quickly.
Developer Benjamin Sternthal says the construction industry is far too reliant on imported materials from the United States and is calling on Ottawa to make it easier for home builders to import products from other countries.
They should have been forging new relationships 5 years ago during the last round of tariffs and the free trade discussion with Mr. Trump. So right away, they should be forging new relationships with every partner country that wants to work with Canada.
And with the threat of tariffs still looming, he says there are other ways cities can help.
It takes us up to a year and a half to get municipal approvals. We spend north of $1 million per project to do that. Make the process easier, make the process more streamlined. That $1 million we could be saving. That offsets costs of any tariffs potentially.
Costs that Sternthal says will drive up the prices of already expensive new homes.
We need solutions, we need them tomorrow morning.
Uncertainty and unpredictability are also beginning to spook potential sellers, says real estate broker Marc-Andre Martel.
Sometimes they're just reluctant to plan for a sale in the next week or two or a month because they don't know what type of market they're going to fall on.
Martel worries hesitant sellers could drive prices up.
There's not a lot of new properties coming to the market, and I think the last thing that we would need is sellers not participating in the market and ultimately creating like a shortage of inventory.
Matt Gilmore, CTV News.
And down on the mainland, multiple companies have emerged for scooping dog poop as it could potentially be a new wave for small businesses. Here is Kevin Chirac, who is our final story of the day.
Luca and Mate are brothers, college students, and budding entrepreneurs.
We're young, we're fit, we have the condition that we can go out and do this type of service.
All right, all good.
Their startup's name, Dog Scoop, clearing backyards throughout Metro Vancouver.
It's funny, I actually saw a video on YouTube about it. Someone in Seattle talking about how they make a great business out of scooping poop. They poop, we scoop.
And just over a month into the new gig, it's been a scooping success.
We have so far over 55 customers that we're serving here in the area, Lower Mainland area.
Over in Abbotsford, we meet the founder of Turd Wranglers.
Business is always picking up.
Punny lines part of the job for Angela Wickens, who started the business as a single mother in 2008.
Being a mother of two very small children at the time and finding myself broke, totally broke, and needing a way of making ends meet.
17 years later, with her husband and co-owner Jeff, they have 4 hybrid trucks and more than 350 clients across the region, serving people with mobility issues or who just want to come home to a clean yard.
I have a rare movement disorder. For me, it's really hard. My husband works out of the house, but he works 6 days a week. He works 12-hour days. This is really convenient.
I want it disposed properly and eco-friendly, and they've just been great to work with.
Part of their pitch, eco-friendly doo-doo disposal.
It goes to a biodigester plant, which turns it into renewable natural gas.
They're now looking to franchise and expand to Alberta.
Is there anything on the end there?
While Luca and Mate also see big potential in dog poop. Kevin Chirac, CTV News.
That'll be all for the cast tonight. Thank you very much for watching and have a great weekend.